Hi, dear boss babes. I am so happy and excited to welcome you back to a final episode of this season. Can you imagine? And today I have a very special guest for you. One and only Kadi Saadlo, our co-host from the very beginning of Baltic Boss Babes, who has returned to tell us how is she doing right now and many other amazing stories. So I'm hoping that you will enjoy this because I will definitely. Hi, Kadi. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good. Very exciting times ahead. I mean, summer is coming.
Yeah, and 1 week maybe from a very important happening in your life.
Yeah, a cool hot date. I will tell you guys a little bit later about that, but definitely some exciting news coming along your way. So the summer is not going to be dull at all.
Thank you very much for inviting me here. It's a little bit nostalgic to be back in this room, but yeah, I'm very happy that we are doing that. So yeah, shoot.
So yeah, let's rewind the tape. How do you remember the early days of Baltic Boss Babes, and what were we thinking, feeling and dreaming back then?
Oh, it's been a long journey in startups in general. They say like that the startup years are kind of like cat or dog years.
Yeah, right.
1 year doesn't equal 1 year. It's like 7 years or something like that. So I think a lot has happened. I think when did we start exactly? Was it 23 spring?
Yeah, something
So
like
kind
that.
of 2 years ago, when we first got started. Well, I remember I was super excited back then. It was a lot of it was so cool putting this all together and everyone. We were talking about the idea about Boss Babes. They were just really cheering us on, and we got a lot of, I think, attention, a lot of cool ideas to bring to the show. So yeah, there was a lot of excitement in there, a lot of positive energy. When you're kicking the things off, I think it was a really exciting and cool time. And I actually, I didn't do so many episodes. I think finally it was maybe 7 or something like that in the first season.
Yeah.
I quite clearly, I guess, remember all of. Fortunately, I decided that for me it wasn't still the time because I'm still a startup founder, and during the past year, I don't think I really have to tell anyone in this space that the past 2 years has been quite difficult for a lot of startups, especially the early stage startups. And it has been kind of a fight for the life for many startups. A lot of startups have gone down. I think in Estonia, for example, it's the second year in a row where more startups are dying it's net negative. So there's less and less startups being born, a lot of startups going down, unfortunately, and it doesn't look like it's gonna get any easier anytime soon. So the reason why I decided to step back from Baltic Boss Babes was not really that I didn't want to do and continue with the show. However, I just needed to be really honest towards myself and then just choose and prioritize
resources, right? Yeah.
Exactly. We have limited resources. We have just a minimum amount of time. I'm also in that sense, I've never been a good multitasker. I don't know how some people can do this, that they have I don't know, 2, 3, 5 different side gigs and jobs, and they're wearing a lot of oh, I have this company here, this company. I'm not that person. So when I do something, I think I just need to focus on this one thing. And whenever I get distracted with something else, it's going to draw my attention away. And then finally, I'm not good at anything. So that was the position, also the feeling that I got when the first excitement was kind of gone over. Or I mean, it was still exciting, but it was also a lot of work. And I just felt that I would not be able to really give everything that I would like to give to the show. And at the same time, also being the CEO and founder of a startup company who's fighting for its life. So I made my choice, and today I'm not regretting. But of course, for me, it was kind of also sad ending.
Of course. I mean, it's always sad to say goodbye to something, especially, being two blondes from from the Baltics and starting this amazing journey. So definitely, yeah, we took the hit pretty badly when you left. But at the same time, I mean, we can all understand that everybody needs to prioritize. And I mean, HotelBuddy is up and still running and doing its thing. So I guess it was worth it in the end.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I don't regret. In general, I don't think that doesn't serve like much of purpose. Regretting the stuff that you have done.
Absolutely.
Like life is all about learning and improving and developing. So obviously you can never say, was it a mistake? Maybe, perhaps, but I will never know. So what's the point of worrying about that?
Absolutely. Right. When you think about your own growth since then and these early mic drop moments, what has changed the most in you as a founder, a woman, and a boss babe?
Yeah, as I mentioned, that it seems like kind of years, decades ago, completely like because so much has happened. But I think I have gone through a massive change, and I have also done it quite consciously. I have been really focusing on my internal, development as a person. I've really worked a lot with my personal mental health and really kind of tried to understand what is important in my life, what is not important, and learned how to prioritize more and better. And also I have really learned how to say no.
Right, setting those boundaries, right?
Exactly. And I think for me, it has been always kind of an issue in my previous life that I'm this type of kind of like a people's pleaser. Like for me, it's sometimes really hard to say no to people. And that has been, and I think that is a major problem for a lot of people. And then I think it's really important to learn that it is okay to say no, that you don't have to accept all the offers, and really have to be honest with yourself, what you can and what you cannot deliver. Because I think for the past 2 years, I have been also battling a lot with kind of burnout. And I don't think I ever really got to that stage where I was completely burnout, but I wasn't far from it. So I think like taking this one big responsibility off my shoulders really is also the reason why I'm still here and why HotelBuddy is still here and actually growing. So that's just the thing.
Cool. If there is one thing that we should all be aware of, and we can't stress it enough over the many episodes that we've done, is that your well-being comes always first, and realizing these things. Like, I have had a couple of mentoring sessions with startup founders as well, and I said it's the biggest blessing that you can get is to realize 5 minutes before burnout, not 5 minutes after, because the journey that leads after a burnout is very long, dark, and painful. So if you can stop yourself and think, if I'm not going to stop myself right now, then it's going to be a real hellhole to crawl out of. And I mean, I think that you have managed to capture that pretty well. And yeah, maybe we can have another special episode just dedicated to that, because it's really, really important to understand which is the border that you just cannot cross if you want to keep yourself sustainable and whatever project you're working on.
I think burnout is so common within this.
Yes.
And it's recently, I just hear more and more stories about it. So I think it is definitely a huge issue that a lot of people are struggling right now. And the second is, mental health. So anxiety, trouble sleeping. It is hard times right now. Everything that's happening around us, the world, it's very unstable. If you are a company owner or a founder or working in a startup space, that's anyway a layer of instability already there.
Absolutely.
Plus then like going through all these turbulent times. But I've also figured out that, what I have personally been really working on is that regardless of what is happening around you, that you try to kind of keep still centered and like not be kind of so bothered about like, okay, yeah, there's a bad deal, this is happening. So for me, the past 2 years, it has been really a struggle. I can open up a little bit about it. I think I've also spoken quite openly about it and posted about these challenges on LinkedIn. For instance, like for me, I think for 1.5 years, I really couldn't sleep through the night. I was constantly up, waking up at 3 a.m. at night and sleepless for like 2 hours. I was just there staring at the ceiling and just this kind of constant nagging thoughts, some really stupid thoughts that you cannot really actually do anything about at 3 a.m. at night and they don't give anything. And it was just really stupid. Oh, did I send that email? Oh, no, I didn't send that email. Oh, my God. And this really, really stupid stuff. So I also got some help in regards of that and really went through this kind of therapy or cognitive therapy, or where they are teaching you how to actually manage manage your thoughts and kind of like, I don't know what's the best way to describe it, but it's kind of like saying to yourself that, hey, Kadi, right now it's 3 a.m. on a Friday night. So perhaps it is not the most logical time to be worrying about this kind of work issue that you cannot do anything about. So why don't you start now and start worrying or thinking about this problem again when it's Monday, 9 a.m. And the funny thing is that it really works when you say to yourself, can I do something about it? Will it make a change? No. Then stop worrying about it and then start worrying again. Allow yourself to worry about this or that problem on Monday at 9 a.m. Then I start worrying again. Another thing, what the therapist really like recommended me to do was like be more mindful. So really be in the present. Oftentimes, we are either somewhere in the past, going through the past experiences that have happened, that haven't happened, whatever, or worrying about the future.
Yeah.
It's creating a lot of like anxiety when you're constantly like, oh, I don't know what the future will bring, and blah, blah, blah. But hardly we are ever at the present moment and thinking, okay, I am here. What's my surroundings like? And especially like when you go to nature or go for these walks. So my therapist really just recommended me, I have a small dog, so I go to take him to walks every day. And then just being present instead of like before I was going around in my head constantly. I was never present. I was never enjoying any of the walks because I was always like stressed and thinking about, I need to get to my computer. I need to do this or that. And then suddenly, okay, allow yourself that 30 minutes and then notice the things around you. Like, okay, it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. Is it like winter, summer? Then notice, how the nature is changing. Notice some small things like the leaves or, right now it's springtime. It's beautiful in Riga. The parks and everything is blossoming and the smells and the sounds and so on. I can't express how big change this little small thing made in my life.
Yeah, it kind of gets you grounded, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of, just you can say to your brain, I guess a lot of our listeners are women, and thus women tend to be overthinkers. You can just say to your brain that
Definitely.
it's okay. You can stop worrying about this stuff and just like start worrying about it next week or Monday or whenever is more relevant time.
True, absolutely. Actually, this brings me to another very interesting question that I have thought of. If you could write a love letter to your past self, the version of Kadi that was hosting the season 1, what would you say to her right now?
I think it's a little bit tricky because I think when I could go back to the version of myself in 2 years ago or 10 years ago, I could say a lot of stuff like that I guess I knew also. I think sometimes also sometimes you're not able to receive the information because you need to go through these experiences.
Also, yeah.
You are not ready to take this information. So again, I think if I could say something to myself 2 years ago, I would try to calm myself down, say that, you don't have to worry so much. Everything is going to be okay. You have to trust life more. That is something that I have been also working more, building up the trust against the world and the universe, because I am constantly worried and anxious about something. And it is actually like really crippling. So just to say, like, don't worry so much. The universe has got your back. I have always been able to get through even the hardest challenges and struggles of life. So why would this be any different?
Exactly. And it's draining the energy as well, like when you think about it, how much time and energy we spend on worrying about stuff. And then if you just breathe out and pause for like a minute or two, and then it's like, but if I'm not worrying about this, I have so much free time and energy to do stuff now. It kind of makes you a little bit more productive as well, better sense.
Also, when you are in this space where you're constantly fearing something or worrying about something, that completely blocks the creativity. And it is also neurologically, or it is the kind of the different parts in your brain that are responsible for kind of rational thoughts and then the creative part. And one way also that actually is kind of a trick if you are very anxious or, up at night or something like that, what you can try to do is visualize something. Either you can try to dream something, let's say you have a dream of buying a sports car or a house or something like that. So you can really focus your ideas about that, trying to visualize that. Or maybe sometimes it's hard. I have been through it myself and I'm super anxious and I'm really having a hard time to visualize something. Then you can try to, what has worked for me personally is then try to visualize yourself like going through, let's say, like a walk in the park or in your surrounding neighborhood. Just close your eyes and picture yourself walking on that street, on your home street, then walking towards, I don't know, let's say a shopping center or something like that. What will you see? And immediately you will see how the anxiety goes down and how that kind of you get more relaxed, because it will be a different part of your brain activated. And the part that's responsible for the anxiety and those thoughts is going to be shut down.
Wow. I mean, this is cool. Guys, I hope you are writing all of that down. We have pearls just spreading all over the table. Coming back to Boss Babes and everything, like we've had very interesting moments in different kind of episodes. If you're looking back, like what would be the thing that makes you laugh or things or think, like, oh my God, we actually did something like this?
I'm always super embarrassed about whenever I have to listen to my own voice. I actually really never wanted to. I did listen through all the episodes when they were launched. I truly enjoyed each and every one of them. Like speaking to those women, from each person I learned something. And it was just so inspirational to listening to some of these stories. And that's also like the unfiltered kind of truth, or like talking to, like we are talking, like even if there weren't mics here, we would be continuing talking the same stuff.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
this is real things, and real troubles. And I guess like I could relate to them so much. That part I really enjoyed. What comes to me, myself, as a podcast host, first or second or third podcast, of course, will never be as good as your 100th.
Absolutely.
So it's something you can train and get better. But yeah, I think I would still have a long way to go in that sense. I'm not listening to the old episodes of myself.
Now you're just being too perfectionist there, I think. I think it was really cool when we did the pop-up podcast episodes at one of the conferences here in Riga called Tech Chill. We were doing this in a really small booth with these hosts like literally crawling into this, like pop-up booth that was exhibition by one of the startups there and recording episodes there. So I think that was quite cool. Like one of the things that I haven't had pleasure or opportunity do by myself right now, because it's either recording here at Green Room at Workland offices or online. So if you can have a podcast episode recorded at some exotic location, that's definitely a bonus.
Yeah, the only thing was sound there. It was terrible. Later, editors had to go through a lot of work, and I think it was still like not the best sound.
Yeah, sorry for that. But that was fun. We have gone through quite a lot of lessons about the last years and everything, but maybe there is something else that you can recall as one of the biggest Boss Babe lessons that life has taught you since leaving the podcast, or maybe plot twist you didn't see coming.
I don't know if there has been really a plot twist. I mean, for the past 2 years, they have really taught me a lot. Like I have become, I think, much more grounded, much more less. I think I've become much more friends with myself, or kind of like started to value myself more, give kind of not worry too much about what is going around me, and also what other people think. That has been always like one of my concerns, like, oh my God, what do they think about me, and so on, and then sometimes when I catch myself on one of these thoughts, like, okay, what does this person think about me? Or I did this, or I did this presentation over there, and they must think that I'm something. Then I always think to myself, okay, like, first of all, why do I care so much about someone's opinion?
Yeah.
I should never care about someone's opinion, or you should neither, when, for example, you don't know that person.
Absolutely.
Or like, do you want to be like that person? do you actually like care what this person thinks of you or anything in the world? So if, you know, the answer to these questions is no, or do you strive to be like that person? Is that person an inspiration to you? Then why do you actually care about what they think about you? You're doing your stuff. So that's personally for me has been something that I think I have developed a lot. Yeah, the general, I mean, the anxiety, the sleeping disorders, I have become much more also healthier, I think, like in many, many ways. In my lifestyle, I really prioritize my sleep, my also like staying active, eating more clean, thinking more clean or positive, less negative thoughts. And
Absolutely.
it really makes a big impact. And yeah, in general, also kind of prioritizing what is really important in life. And it's not all about like this chasing the success or money or these kind of things, because I've been doing some of these kind of, I don't know, exercises as well that just, for example, like try to think about people in general should be focusing on doing more of the stuff that bring them joy or like make them happy. And a lot of the times people are not doing it. They're just chasing from one goal to another, one day after another, and they're just like kind of hamsters in this wheel and never stopping to really think, okay, what is really important, what I really want in life. And one good exercise that a friend told me to do, that when you just sit down and then imagine of your perfect day, like how would that look like? How would you wake up in the morning? What would you hear? What would you see? What would you do? And then try to visualize this. Or another exercise is to create this kind of like a joy list. Just make a list on your, I don't know, your phone notes, like what are the things that make you happy. Maybe it's like drinking morning coffee or reading the news or watching a good TV show or listening to a good podcast, and then write down. And then actually, like when you go through this list, try to think, okay, how many of these things are you actually doing every day, every week, every month, and how much could you do more? Because these are the things that make you happy.
Yeah.
When I made my list, when I tried to visualize the perfect day of my life, it was only about kind of experiences with my loved ones, walks in the nature, and just really simple things that do not require actually that I have everything already now to achieve them, to do them. Maybe one thing that I need more is time, but it's also like prioritizing. So really, does it really make sense that you work, I don't know, 12, 16 hours days to achieve some sort of goal that at the end is not even going to make you happy? Or maybe it makes sense to more prioritize a healthier work and life balance and do more of those things that really make you happy. So I think it's a good exercise. Just put down the things that bring you joy and see what they are. And perhaps a lot of them are much more achievable to you than, you know, what you think of.
I can't stress enough how many good things are coming out of you today. So thank you for that. Definitely. If I look back at all of the things while you were talking, I was kind of picturing like what my day looked like. And I thought, okay, I have so many different ways how that could turn out. But at the end, yeah, it never is about having this perfect car or the biggest house or, okay, I'm not judging, guys. You know, if some of you actually do feel that that would be your perfect day of, you know, waking up in a penthouse of some kind of a flat or a condo or something, that's also fine. But if we are really brutally honest, which we prefer to do here at Baltic Boss Babes, then definitely I think that most of you would say that, yeah, you know, having this hug in the morning from the loved one, or, you know, brushing your dog or cat or hamster or whoever, or, you know, petting your snake, whichever, you know, like interaction makes you happy. I think that you would actually, when you reflect on your days and times, you would actually find that those are the things that make you happy. I was thinking about, there are so many people who are chasing paychecks just because of sake of survival. But at the end, the biggest truth out there is that once you start doing the thing that you love and that inspires you, you inspire other people, and you kind of automatically get paid for that, you know, because the money finds you. So from that perspective, that is one good reflection thought to actually bring to the table. Like, what is it that you really like to do? Yeah. And sorry, guys, sitting at home and watching TV and doing nothing is not really the answer.
Part of that for me, for example, when I've had really stressful times, then sometimes, you know, it kind of switches your brain off to watch some sort of stupid series or something.
True.
Like that.
I mean, from that perspective, yes. I mean, if you are like doing these 12-hour work days, then of course I can understand that. But, like having this life purpose of doing nothing, I don't really believe in those things. So there's always something that excites a person that, like, I believe that everybody has some purpose in life that they could fulfill and actually get paid for that and inspire others as well.
And the thing also with that attachment to different kind of things, a lot of the times that when you are desiring something, let's say you want to buy a new sports car or a new phone, and then you buy it, and then it's such a short time frame where actually you kind of start caring less and less about it. It becomes just like, oh, whatever. And then your mind turns into a new thing to desire more. So these are like kind of the things that are, it's kind of like very temporary, like pleasures, getting a new bag or new something, which doesn't mean that you should like really not want them or something like that, but you should not like put so much importance on these kind of things
Getting
and really
them.
try to develop maybe some other sides of yourself or your being.
Absolutely. We at Baltic Boss Babes always have been about, bold moves and decisions and sisterhood and impact. And I was just thinking about kind of little pleasures in life or happiness moments. Like, how do those values that I mentioned are showing up in your life today? Like, since we are kind of walking away from all the materialistic stuff, then, like it's about community and supporting and everything. Like, where do you find these things today? And then what does it inspire you on a daily basis?
I think when it like, for me personally, I'm not such a big community person, I would say, but I do speak my truth. That has been always a really important principle, like that I try to be honest and be bold in that sense as well. So respecting other people. And I am also quite vocal about my experiences, my ideas, and posting often on LinkedIn. Sometimes it's, kind of my company related stuff, but oftentimes it's also my kind of internal struggles or challenges or learning.
Like an online diary.
Yeah, kind of like a founder's diary. I would like to call it that way. I have been not posting so much recently, but I hope to come back to that again once more. So I think my part is what I bring, and also like within this episode that I'm just very honest about my life, and perhaps it's useful for someone and someone who can relate in my experience and find something in that.
Cool. We actually appreciate this honest truth. I, for one, find it very insightful and everything. I hope that you guys do too. But, I'm just a one subjective person, so it can be anyway for somebody else. Thinking about different kind of values and inspiration, are there any female founders, creators, or change makers that have seriously inspired you lately, and why?
Yeah, I think there's a lot actually. I would not like to name any names, but within my own circles in the Estonian founders community, I think there's a lot of great women that I really look up to, and I'm like, oh my God, how are they able to go through everything, running a company, raising kids? I don't have kids yet, so for me, like running a company is challenging enough, and then like being so kind of energetic and so on. But I also think that it comes down to the fact that they are doing something that they really enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
And they do get joy out of that. Because when you're doing the right thing, when you're really on the right path, you feel it, then this energizes you tremendously. So I think this is actually the key, to do the stuff that you enjoy.
I think it works. Okay, it works for everybody, but I think it's even more important for women because we are kind of slightly more emotionally driven. And, once you're doing something that you love, you get more emotions, therefore more energy. And then you can go on and bring down those mountains like they are nothing, basically. So definitely, I would say that that's one of the key about this. And that would be something that you should take away with you every single day when you're going to sleep, and then wake up in the morning and think like, what is the amazing amazing thing that I could do today again. So definitely. We are slowly coming towards the end of our amazing episode already, but I have a couple of things that I would still like to ask you. One of them is, what rituals, habits, or non-negotiables have become part of your boss babe lifestyle in this chapter?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, like I have really become to prioritize sleep. So this is one thing that I really always try to make sure that I get enough of, even if it comes on expense of something else, maybe. Like this morning, I felt like I really needed sleep. I canceled my morning, or like I didn't go to my morning workout, which I had planned also, which is also important. But, you know, this morning went like this. Drinking lots of water, really minimizing the use of alcohol. For me, this has done like giving amazing results. I feel much more clear, so much more energy. And even like, I think my body has become so sensitive that now when I even have a glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine, the next day I can actually feel it. Try to eat more clean and really try to exercise. I try to exercise almost every day. If it doesn't work out, then at least I'm getting my steps. I'm getting 10,000 steps every day for, I think it's already kind of 6 months that I have been doing this challenge with a friend of mine.
Oh, wow.
Sending like a screenshot at the end of every day, because I do have a small dog that needs daily walks. So for me,
Okay, that makes it a little bit easier.
but anyway, but still, it's kind of like there are days also that my boyfriend likes the dog out, and then I'm like, oh my God, it's already like 9 p.m. and I only have 3,000 steps, and I'm like, okay, doggy, let's go for another walk. So but it does help a lot. So I think that there needs to be like balance in life. And if you are like a startup founder or a founder, a company owner, whatever, if you have like a lot of mental, let's say, stress, or like if you have to work a lot with your brain, then it is equally important to move your body. So
Absolutely.
I think that is important. And I really feel also for me, makes such a big difference. Good thing is like sauna that I try to do as well, especially actually infrared sauna is really good to kind of get the toxins out. And also I'm actually investing quite a lot into like natural supplements. So I am making sure that I'm getting enough nutrients, because you cannot actually get all the nutrients you need from foods. Unfortunately, a lot of like, even if you're eating like whole foods and trying to be like as clean as possible, getting lots of vegetables and fruits, you might not get the necessary nutrients, like, for example, magnesium. Our soils have been really depleted of magnesium, and magnesium is such an important mineral for our body and for different functionalities. And especially the ones who are struggling with their sleep or anxiety, I would suggest you to supplement with magnesium, especially magnesium glycinate, which is kind of easier for your body to metabolize and use. And yeah, a lot of other stuff as well that I'm taking. But yeah, it does come down to the basics. Moving your body enough, doing kind of some sort of exercise regimen, whatever it is. Can be walking, can be running, can be swimming, or some sort of weightlifting. Weightlifting is actually really important that everyone should do, even if it's like at home. If you don't have access to the gym, you should work in home and do some sort of like resistance training. So good in so many ways. And yeah, and then also I think trying to manage my thoughts and really just try to be more positive and grounded in general. Being more mindful, meditation helps, this kind of like breathing practices, stuff like that. So
Absolutely. If I could, I would just write everything down all the time. Just a couple of more questions. Otherwise, we could talk here for hours, honestly. But I mean, you did kind of decide to go for better for HotelBuddy and leave the mic. Like, looking back at this time, what's the one thing you wish more people knew about what it takes to build something meaningful?
Again, I think I can only talk about my experience, right? So I think it does take a lot of resilience. So not always, like when you start something, you have a plan, this kind of happy flow, as we call it. And then oftentimes people think like, oh yeah, that's the way it's going to go and so on. But like soon you will meet some challenges. I don't think there's a single kind of success story startup out there who hasn't had their fair share of challenges. And actually these challenges are often the most interesting part of the story. And oftentimes they're not like no one talks about them like out loud, and you only hear about the success and you think, okay, yeah, there are these kind of big companies and unicorns and they had no problems whatsoever and they just started to build and then poof, like success came. No, it's not like that. Like you have to put in a lot of work, resilience, and you should not give up as soon as the first or some challenges kind of show themselves or appear. But of course, it should not come on your personal expense. And you should always just be honest towards yourself, like, and take these kind of breaks if needed and have this kind of good work and life balance. But at the end of the day, if you do enjoy what you do, if you believe in what you do, then you should just keep on doing that. The success will follow.
Absolutely. You don't have to be worried about being a little bit more selfish towards yourself, because this is a harsh thing to say, I guess, but like if you die and tomorrow you are not showing up for work, there is going to be another person who can replace you at some point, and it's not going to give you any good if you're not there anymore. So from that harsh perspective, I would say that it's definitely worth thinking about yourself as well, because those emails are going to be answered next day, or, like these people will wait for the answer and they're not going to disappear anywhere. If they do disappear, then probably they're not the people that you should be contacting with. But yeah, I mean, definitely I can agree about resilience. I didn't have it enough, I guess, but I mean, I was struggling with my own personal...
That's really hard.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of the reasons why Baltic Boss Babes actually had one host, as I was burned out from my startup and I stayed with Boss Babes to listen to and to bring other women's stories forward. If you do love what you do, I think that there is no challenge that is going to be hard enough so that you can't overcome it. And one last question. Finally, we love to finish our episodes with this. What is the most unfiltered advice or suggestion that you could give to aspiring entrepreneurs, ladies who are out there thinking about what to do next and how to start up their own life?
I think it really is everything that we have just mentioned here, that you should find joy in what you do. Like you should never be just driven about some sort of like ambition or money or some materialistic goal. I think like whatever, when you are creating something, let's say you're a startup founder or a company owner, you're bringing some sort of value to the world. Either it's a service that you provide or it's a solution that you have created. It should bring some sort of value. It should create some sort of solution to a problem. So that's one thing. But at the same time, also like you have to feel that this is exactly that you want to do. Because also when you are, let's say you're starting like an enterprise or like you're starting a company or your business, it is going to take a while. You have to accept that maybe for the next 10 years, 20 years, you might be building that. So is that really your heart's desire that you want to bring? So I think, yeah, being honest with yourself, and that doesn't mean that maybe this thing wasn't really what you needed to do or what you needed to bring to this world, but maybe there's something else. And of course, I think always, I think I mentioned this before, just get started. Maybe sometimes I speak to people and they say, I would like to do something, but I really don't know what. But if you have that inner drive, then why don't you, I don't know, join a hackathon, find some people, find a problem that to solve, get started. And during this process, you might find, okay, maybe I can put my energy into this instead, or find the right thing to build or not. And also, even if you fail, that's okay. People, I think, especially like in our region, in the Baltics, it's kind of like when a startup fails or when a company fails, then people feel it's some sort of like embarrassing thing. No, it's not. It's like, it's great. You got an experience.
Exactly.
I think in the States where this kind of like entrepreneurial history or this kind of drive is much bigger, like you get people like don't even take you seriously if you haven't gone through a bankruptcy or two. So I think it's like here in Europe, people are thinking like it's a bad thing. No, it's not. You got an experience. You have learned the lesson. So next time around, you're going to be much more smarter.
Exactly. Definitely. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Kadi, for all of the knowledge and wisdom that you have shared and for coming back to Baltic Boss Babes. I will shed one tear of happiness for having you across the table again. And As for you guys, I hope you have enjoyed this episode and this season, as we have had many wonderful guests. And I hope to see you again next season, which will air around September this year. So I hope to see you then. And meanwhile, don't forget to listen to the best parts of our episodes. They are all there. And also follow us on social media, Instagram and LinkedIn. And we have some exciting content coming over the summer soon as well. So stay tuned, stay amazing, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on our season finale. Big thanks to Kadi for her honest insights on resilience, boundaries, and what it really means to grow personally and professionally. If you loved this episode, share it and follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn for more inspo this summer. We'll see you in September. Until then, stay bold, stay grounded, stay boss.